These lakes hold a lot of stories, and all of them get better every time they're told. Because you've got 40-inch gators out there, giant lakers, crappies, sunnies, and walleye. So many walleye. So get ready with the best from clam, otter, vexillar, hummingbird, garmin, 13 fishing, and many more. The Shields Ice Fishing Sale runs now through December 13th, in-store and online at shields.com. The ice is calling.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Minnesota Bound podcast, the stories behind the stories. I'm Laura Sherry, your host for today, and I'm really excited to introduce you to our next guest. And before I get to who that is, I just want to thank our sponsors, Shields, Connecticut Water, Minnesota DNR, North Dakota Tourism, and Star Bank. All right, time for an exciting podcast today. I am joined by Tyler McKean, who is a two-time National Skijoring champion. And if you don't know what skijoring is, we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I want to say hi to Tyler and welcome to the Minnesota Bound podcast.
Hey, Laura. Thanks for having me. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. And Tyler, we had a chance to do a little skijoring lesson for Minnesota Bound, which I believe is coming up. It's airing very soon here. And you taught me some really good lessons in what not to do and how to not wipe out, but also some interesting things on how to train your dog to skijor. So if people who are listening don't know what skijoring is, can you explain what it actually is?
Absolutely. So most people can visualize what a sled dog team looks like, right? Now take the sled away and replace it with cross-country skis and take away most of the dogs so that you only have one or two left. And the result is a skijoring team that employs the athletic ability of both the dog and the skier, with the dog leading the way out in front and taking directional cues from the skier. And each team member has a specialized harness, and they're connected with an elastic tether. And it's normally done on cross-country ski trails or multi-purpose trails when the snow flies.
It is the coolest sport, in my opinion. And how long have you been skijoring? For quite a few years now?
Yes, I'd say we're probably going into our 8th winter. Buddy, my dog, is turning 10 in January, and we started pretty quickly when I got him. I did not ski beforehand, and I think we had one season that we had to take off because of an injury to me. But otherwise, we're one of the select few or minority people here in Minnesota that can't wait for a good dumping of snow so that we can get up there and skijor all winter long.
I know. Where is the snow? I bet you're just itching to get out there because we still have grass on the lawns right now. We need to see the white stuff pretty quickly here.
Yes.
So before we get into the story about Buddy, your dog, let's just tell our listeners here on how many championships. I mentioned that you had 2 national skijoring championships, but actually your list of achievements is quite longer than that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep everything straight over the years and all the different events that we've done. But as I learned how to ski, we started to do better and better in competition. And around the Midwest area, there's a really great race series and a lot of good trails and a really welcoming community to get started in skijoring. So we were doing, probably half a dozen to 8 races every winter. And it really wasn't until Buddy was probably 5 or 6 years old that we started to win races, which is actually after most dogs are kind of out of their prime, but that's how long it took me to become an adequate skier and actually pull my own weight a little bit. So, over the last few years, we've been on the podium quite a bit, just about every race that we've been in. We've got some good competition with some other teams here in the Midwest, but we're usually somewhere on the podium. And over the last couple of years, we've won a handful of races, 2 national championships, and then because of how often we're out there and how well Buddy does, we've taken home a couple of race series championships the last 2 seasons.
That is incredible. And I have to let the listeners know that your dog, when I met Buddy for the first time, I was first shocked that Buddy was not your typical sled dog. So in general, you would think, if I'm going to get into the hobby or the competitive world of skijoring, I'm going to need a husky or some dog that has this intuitive sense to pull. And when I met you, here comes Buddy, and Buddy is a German short hair retriever. German short hair pointer. What am I talking about? That shocked me. And Buddy has a really unique story on how the two of you came together and became a team, because he was a rescue dog, right?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I didn't ski growing up. So I didn't, go to a kennel to find a skijoring dog for myself. I was freshly out of college and I was moving into a place for the first time that I was allowed to have a dog. And I knew that I wanted an active dog. And I found Buddy on Craigslist, 4-month-old German short hair pointer. And the lady charged me $50 for him, a leash and a bowl. And, since then, 9.5 years later, he's still following me all around the house and doing whatever we need to. But yeah, so when it comes to skijoring, the dogs that you can use, the breeds of dogs are quite versatile or quite broad. The husky mixes that people associate with sled dog teams can do quite well in the sport. Pointers, German short hair pointers, English pointers, anything like that. A lot of labs and lab mixes, even poodles. And, I've seen a couple of wiener dogs out there before. So
wow, that's awesome.
So long as a dog has the desire to pull and you train them up just like on anything else to follow commands and work as a team with you, just about any dog that wants to be outside and wants to run is going to do well at it and enjoy it. But the pointer mixes do very well in the competitive skijoring world. And, like I mentioned, Buddy was off of Craigslist, relatively cheap. And over the years, he's competed against some of the best bred and most expensive skijoring dogs in the world. And, if he wasn't towing me, I think he would be right up there with every single one of them. But he's done very well for just being a dog off of Craigslist with somebody who'd never skied before they got him.
He is an incredible dog. And, Buddy has his back legs, his quads are so big and he is so fast. In fact, when we did our segment for Minnesota Bound, I remember you giving me a demonstration where you hooked up to Buddy and took off at a very fast pace, I will say. And you kind of came back around the loop and you said, all right, it's your turn. Do you want to try it? And I remember thinking, I certainly don't want to try this alone. This dog is flying. I just saw myself taking a lot of tumbles. And so we hooked up to Buddy together with our skis, and he still was very fast. And in fact, I ended up wiping out, I believe, once or twice just from my lack of skijoring experience. And but it was such a good time, and it was really, really cool to see that you. It doesn't matter really the breed of dog. In fact, I brought my French Bulldog Bacon out there to give it a try, and he wasn't super interested in pulling as he was as much getting a treat. And actually, that was one of your training tips on how to get started skijoring. And before you answer and give our listeners some tips on how to get started skijoring, if they're interested, I want to thank one of our sponsors, Minnesota's wildlife management areas are a vast array of lands across all of Minnesota. There are approximately 1,400 wildlife management areas that are valued for wildlife and Minnesotans' outdoor recreation opportunities. To find out more about Minnesota wildlife management areas, go to www.mndnr.gov/WMAS. All right, Tyler. So if someone's interested in giving this a try, you had some really good tips for me when we were together on how to get a dog that's never pulled a skier before, let alone, a skier and or two. So what would you say are some tips that people can use if they want to get their dog started in skijoring or see if they have the drive to do it?
Well, yes, just about any dog that is pulling you and loves to run can probably do skijoring and will love it. Thinking back to Bacon skijoring adventure, lots of different dogs are motivated by different things. Some dogs just love to pull, and you can hook them up, and if they see open space in front of them and you don't yell at them when they start pulling, they'll go. Other ones like Bacon might be motivated by treats. So you can have a partner who is a little ways away from you, and as you give your dog the command to go, which is usually hike or up, have them go towards the treat, and over time you expand that distance and you take away the treat. Other dogs are really motivated by chasing. So if you can find an experienced skijoring team or even another team that wants to learn, get out on the trail together and take turns with one team out in front leading and then the team behind chasing. And a lot of dogs will be motivated by that. And you don't have to wait for snow or to get super comfortable on cross-country skis either. On your daily walks, you can start teaching your dogs directional commands like gee to go right, haw to go left, whoa to slow down, and like I said, hike to start up. And if you get comfortable with that sort of stuff, you could even do some of the dry land cross-training sports like canacross, which is the same as skijoring, but you're running instead of skiing, or bike joring, which we do a lot this time of the year on my mountain bike before the snow comes.
That is so cool. Now, are there any clubs in town, once we're able to gather again, that do the canacross or, of course, skijoring or any of those other sports?
Yes, I'd say that the best place to start is with an organization called Canine Powered Sports, and their website is caninepowered.org, and they're a local nonprofit that hosts a website. They also have a Facebook page with a great community of people willing to answer questions and give pointers, and lots of times you can meet up with people from the Facebook page, because especially as we get into the season, people will be posting, hey, I'm going to be on this trail at this time if anybody wants to come out and chase us. And you can usually find some people in your area to go out for a fun run. And Canine Powered Sports also partners with a few park districts in the metro area and throughout Minnesota that will put on clinics or host one of the races in the Midwest Series.
So cool. And you mentioned trails, et cetera. And before we get to my next question on where you can take your skijoring to the next level, I want to thank another one of our sponsors, is Connecticut Drinking Water. I have the reverse osmosis drinking water system. I've had it for quite a few years now. I love it. It takes out all the contaminants out of the water, removes chlorine, and of course leaves it with a really great taste. So having Connecticut means I use less plastic water bottles. Of course, we know how much that is a bonus for the environment. So for more information, visit Connecticut.com to find a dealer near you.
Hi there, Ron Shera here for Star Bank. If you're putting your money into mega banks down the street, who knows where that money's being used? Bank locally. Keep your money local with a community bank that actually cares about you, your family, your business, and your goals. Check out the bank we use at Minnesota Bound. Try Minnesota's own Star Bank. You can find them online at starbank.net. When you call Star Bank, you actually hear a real living person answering the phone. Star Bank has 10 convenient locations around Minnesota to serve you and all the mobile banking products that you need to manage your money. Check out all that Star Bank has to offer at starbank.net.
So Tyler, you mentioned there's a lot of clubs, et cetera, on places you can reach out to learn more information or get involved. But if you're just interested in kind of going out to test it on your own, there are very specific parks and trail systems that allow skijoring, correct? And you just can't just go anywhere to any park and hook up your dog and take off. Is that right?
That's right. It's very easy to find places to cane across and bike jor with your dog. Just about any place that has a natural surface trail that they allow bicycles on, you'll be able to get out and do that stuff. But then once the snow comes and municipalities and other organizations are grooming the cross-country ski trails, you definitely want to make sure that you're going to a trail that allows skijoring on it. Often in some of the bigger trail systems where there's multiple loops, they'll have a smaller loop that's maybe not the most heavily used or the most difficult trail. That's kind of a multi-purpose trail where people might be able to snowshoe, cross-country ski, skijor, even go for a walk. And, there's some places just outside of the metro area where, even taking a slightly larger dog sled team on those trails is okay. So again, caninepowered.org is going to be a good resource to see where a lot of those trails in the metro and greater Minnesota area are. But I would just check their website, and if it doesn't say anything on there, give them a call. But my recommendation is to definitely find a groomed cross-country trail, because cross-country skiing is hard enough. You don't need a uneven or ungroomed surface adding to the difficulty when you're out there to enjoy the time with your dog and make sure that everybody stays safe.
So true. And speaking of staying safe, there's pretty specific equipment that's needed to do skijoring with your dog. And before you answer that question on what that is, because that's probably one of the most important elements to skijoring, I want to thank one more of our sponsors. Outdoor Adventure awaits in North Dakota. So many outdoor adventures to be had is what we love, of course. Be ready to experience world-class hunting in North Dakota. Explore North Dakota's Badlands, just as Theodore Roosevelt did on horseback. I would love to do that. Great fishing in the Missouri River system. And for more information, you can visit legendarynd.com. So, Tyler, I think it's really important to let the listeners know that you just don't hook up a leash to a dog collar when it comes to skijoring. That would not be safe. There are really specific equipment that you need, and I believe it's relatively affordable and inexpensive. Maybe I'm guessing the skis might get up there if you want to get competitive. But what's the equipment that you would actually need if you want to try this?
Yes, it is very important to have the right equipment so that you do not injure your dog, and that should be your number one goal when skijoring before any competitive or time related goal. Just make sure that everybody stays safe and then you have fun. And in order to do that, make sure that you're getting a skijoring or sled dog harness specifically made for your dog. There's a lot of great companies online that you can order from that'll help you size the right equipment for your dog, because your dog's going to be pulling extremely hard against their harness. So it's important that it sits in the right place and that it's fitted so that it's not straining their neck or any other sensitive area on their body, and they can sort of pull effortlessly, without without any chafing or getting injured any other way. That's the most important piece of equipment is the dog harness. And then you're going to have a harness on you as well. So long as it's got a thick belt that's going to distribute the weight along your lower back, it'll be okay. There are skijoring specific harnesses that we use and that I recommend. But if you've got a rock climbing harness or something similar laying around, you could get started with that. And then connecting your harness to the dog harness is going to be a long tether with some elastic woven into it so that it's not super rigid, because you don't want slack in the line when your dog takes off and then have it snap back. That's another area where a dog or a person could get injured. And there's going to be some sort of quick release, usually right where your harness connects to the tether, so that if you need to disconnect in order to keep everybody safe, you can quickly. And then, like you mentioned, cross-country skis. You don't have to go super crazy, but I definitely recommend that you find cross-country skis that fit you. And the biggest components in that are going to be your height and your weight for how the skis flex on the snow. Especially at the speeds that you can get up to with a dog pulling you, having a ski that flexes appropriately for your size is going to allow you to control yourself, stop when you need to, and then also contribute when you're skiing.
And speaking of the skiing part, now, can you do skijoring with a classic cross-country ski? Because I know you obviously use the skate ski for speed purposes, but can you use either one of those or no?
You can. I think it really depends on what you are hoping to accomplish and what type of drive your dog has. With Buddy, who pulls hard and goes fast, I use skate skis because my skis are going to be sort of in a V pattern on the snow, and it just allows me more lateral stability as the course changes, and Buddy might move a little to the right or a little to the left, what have you. If you've got a dog that doesn't pull quite that hard, or you're not super concerned about going all that fast, you can skijor with classic skis, but your skis being parallel straight down the track in front of you, you're going to have a little less of that lateral stability if the dog veers over to the side and starts pulling you over. So it really depends, but you can do it either way.
Sure. If you're out for a leisurely stroll with a slow dog, classic skis work. If you're looking for speed and competitiveness, you better get those skate skis. And how good of a skier do you have to be really before you decide to hook up to a fast dog? Because when I watched you do the loop for the first time, granted you were flying and going very fast, and it looked, things always look easier than what they are when you try them. And when I, got into the skis and all of a sudden my speed is really picking up, you do seem to need to know how to skate ski efficiently before you decide to have your dog, pull you.
Yes. So the competency of the skier or the skier's ability is going to be the greatest X factor in the whole equation, right? So you don't need to be a world-class skier by any means. Like I said, when I got Buddy, I did not ski before then, and for the first few years that we were doing it, I was increasing my skills. I think the first 5-kilometer race that we did, I believe that I snowplowed the entire way.
Did you? I bet.
Because I wasn't ready for those speeds yet, and I wasn't comfortable enough on my skis, and that was fine because I was being sure to do it in a way that I was protecting Buddy. You can learn with them as you develop your skiing ability, but just make sure that you do it in a way where you're not going to injure your dog. And then I really recommend that people, if they want to get into it, try to take some lessons and spend time on their own without being hooked up to the dog. I try to do twice the distance just on my own that Buddy and I do together, so that I can be comfortable and I'm not holding him back. And, when we're going around turns or we're passing other teams, we can do it in a safe way.
Sure. It's very good advice. And, and keep in mind to the listeners, if you want to give this a try, your dog just isn't pulling you the whole time and you're going for a joyride. You are absolutely contributing by skiing and keeping up the speed for your dog. So it's not just the dog towing you the whole way, right?
That's right. It's funny how much Buddy challenges me. Buddy's the beast that's always ready to go and never gives a half-hearted effort. And most dogs, 95% of them are going to be that way too. And I'm 36 now, and I'm by no means the fittest person in the world, but some of my peers have started slowing down and maybe put on a couple of pounds. And, that's just not an option for me, because then that's more weight or more effort that Buddy has to pull around. And, I look at it as a teamwork thing, and, I've got to do my share. So it's really an added motivating factor for me to in my life to have such a dog like that that loves skijoring so much and does so well at it, because then it forces me to get out and exercise and stay in shape when maybe I wouldn't do nearly as much if I weren't doing this sport. That's
so cool. Well, Tyler, when I saw you, you were in impeccable shape. So I'm sure Buddy appreciates that a lot. And I have to say, the story of the two of you and how you found Buddy and his drive to win those races is really like a really special story. And how old is Buddy now?
He turns 10 in January, and each year I think that he's going to slow down and maybe will drop down into more of a recreational class. But then, around this time of the year, I start hooking him up to the mountain bike, and he's ready to go. I don't know. He's a crazy dog and quite the animal, quite the companion.
He is, absolutely. Well, if someone, any of our listeners, wants to find you on social media and check in on you and Buddy, or if they have, any questions for you, where can they find you?
Yes, so I am on Facebook. I'm a member of the Canine Powered Sports page, so that might be an easy way to find me. There's also a Skijor Minnesota Facebook group that's run by a lot of the same people that I'm on. And I do have an Instagram account. I think it's 45th Degree is my handle. So people can check that out and connect with me there if they like. There's plenty of pictures of Buddy and a few videos of us skijoring over the years.
Fantastic. Yes, definitely go check out photos of Tyler and his German short hair pointer, Buddy, two-time National Skijoring champions, and a long list of other awards besides that. But thank you, Tyler, so much for joining us today on the Minnesota Bound podcast. And I am excited to see the segment the two of us did on Minnesota Bound.
Yes,
I think it's re-airing, but that was a really, really fun day.
Yes. Thank you for having me. We will be looking forward to seeing you and Bacon at some of the skijoring events this winter.
Yes. You know what? I need to practice my skiing. I got into cross-country skiing. Just the classic skis last year became my COVID hobby. I was out there all the time on the trails, which are so beautiful. And our state is so magical on how many ski trails are available. But I think I'm ready to step up my game and give skijoring a try now that I have my skiing down a little bit better. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Fantastic.
Well, thanks again, Tyler. And also thanks to our sponsors, Shields, Connecticut Water, Minnesota DNR, North Dakota Tourism, and Star Bank.